Hello and thank you for joining us on the Thursday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Today on the program, Nigeria emerges the most terrorized country in Africa, ranked worse than Syria, Yemen, Somalia and Pakistan. And later on the show, Attorney General Abubakar Malami expresses readiness to testify against Ibrahim Magu, has suspended EFCC Chairman, dares him to show evidence that he received bribes and enriched himself. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade-Otitoju, and Wale Adeoye will be joining us via Skype. So if you are ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. Now, few years ago, terrorism seemed a remote term and unlikely experience to Nigerians. But after more than a decade of Boko Haram insurgency in the country's northeast, terrorism is now a commonplace. Nigeria now ranks third among the most terrorized country in the world. According to the latest reports by the Global Terrorism Index, the incessant attacks by Boko Haram and armed bandits puts Nigeria just behind Afghanistan and Iraq as the most terrorized countries in the world, worse than the likes of Syria, Yemen, Somalia and Pakistan. Jide, this is strange, these names. You know, when you talk about Yemen, what comes to my mind is like a photo of a failed state. When you talk about Syria, has been under heavy bombardment in the last 10 years, or so, because of the civil war they have within Syria. So how on earth will Nigeria be categorized with these countries?
Oh, it is not a surprise to me that this has happened, and this survey was conducted in 2018. So it may not reflect exactly what's going on now. Exactly what's going on now could even be worse than this.
That 2018 when it was conducted.
Yes, so 2018.
It was still better than what we have
2018, my suspicion is that it could be worse now, because we have moved now. Insecurity has become our biggest problem as a country now, except we want to deceive ourselves. The rate of killings across the country is significantly higher than 2018. So I'm saying that this was conducted in 2018, but the rate of fatalities based on their survey showed that the 2018 outcome was 75% even lower than 2014. Know that 2014 was the peak of the Boko Haram insurgency. That was the year that they invaded Goza and annexed it and moved from Goza to Damboa. And from then, they began to capture territories and hoist their flag. In the end, they captured like 17 local governments in Borno State, went to Adamawa and captured 7 local governments, went to Yobe and captured 2 local governments, So things are much better in terms of the Boko Haram war and their capacity to seize territories. But the notoriety of Boko Haram has not reduced. They still continue to attack our people. They continue to kill our people. In one day in the month of May, if you remember, they killed 100 persons in one town, in Ganze local government of Borno State. So when you talk about Iraq, Yemen, and Syria, because of the sustained bombardment of ISIS positions and all that, the success of the military campaign led by the Russians and the Americans, they've been able to bring down the number of innocent civilians being killed. Because when you are talking about the definition of terrorism, it is an act designed to cause bodily harm to civilians as a means of stimulating a reaction either from a government or a non-government agency, maybe like an NGO or some organization that can then bring money and pay for after you've taken action. They can then pay you maybe ransom or beg you to stop that course of action. So the same thing in Iraq. The gains that Islamic State made over the years have been eroded because of sustained military action. So they do no longer control territories inside Iraq. They've cleared them out of the territories that they used to hold. But terrorist attacks are still taking place. Now, why this figure is this high in Nigeria is based largely on the activities of criminal headsmen. Criminal headsmen, according to these figures, accounted for more than 70% of even the deaths that were recorded during that period.
Because the activities of bandits all over.
Yes. So 78% of attacks during that period were carried out by what was it called? Criminal headsmen. Because criminal headsmen were the ones attacking people in most parts of Kaduna and even many parts of the North Central. So they are saying that 86% of deaths from in Nigeria in 2018 came from those headsmen. A lot of the bandits operating in the Northwest, Zamfara, and the rest of them are classified as criminal headsmen. So they are saying, okay, 86% of deaths arose from the activities of these guys. So when you look at the figure of the dead, you see that Boko Haram was said to have killed 589 Nigerians in 2018, whereas the criminal headsmen, that's how I want to be describing them, so that nobody says you are targeting a particular tribe. Criminal headsmen killed 1,158. I want to believe that a lot of this 1,158 must have been killed in Zamfara because that was the peak of the killings.
In Zamfara State.
Yes, that was the peak of the killings, and we are doing programs almost every day talking about the need to put an end to this. Yes, and it didn't stop until 2019. It didn't really significantly come down. So this is the thing. Yes, there's a war in Yemen, but this is terrorism that we are talking about. Yes, there will be occasional bombing and killing of innocent people, but when you look at the activities of terrorists, you see them in form of what the Taliban is doing in Afghanistan, and you see them in form of what ISIS is doing in Iraq. You see them in form of what ISIS is doing in Syria as well. So those figures have gone down for some of the countries, but for Nigeria, the way things are going, if they do a survey for 2019 and 2020, I'm sure it will be higher than this.
Wale Adeoye, this ranking of Nigeria, are you surprised in any way?
I'm not surprised by these figures because, first of all, we need to be very honest with our situation. We should not politicize it. We should admit the reality of the challenge that faces us as a country. So I think just like Babajide said, before we used to have religious terrorism. Now it has been joined by criminal terrorism, pastoral terrorism, people that are involved in terrorism with the end product, with the aim of making material gains. So I think that has compounded, the problem that Nigeria faces. And unfortunately, it appears as if the figures of deaths keep on rising almost every day. Even during COVID-19 pandemic, there are a lot of people who are expected to stay at home, to stay with their families. People are being massacred in Nigeria. So that is very unfortunate, because if you look at the trend all over the world, during the COVID-19 pandemic, the figures actually, was down, at the peak of COVID-19 pandemic. But in Nigeria, the reverse was the case. People are being massacred, people are being killed. So I think I agree with that report. in 2018. And I also believe that if we are to do a review this year, I'm quite convinced that the figure will have gone up. Unfortunately, the conditions for the breeding that creates the breeding ground for terrorism, like poverty, deprivation, lack of education, desperation, exclusion, economic exclusion, those conditions are still here. And of course, corruption will also continue to aid terrorism, because it's like as if a lot of people see this fight as a way to, to make money. You remember the case of the National Security Advisor, $2.2 billion. We are still talking about how that money disappeared. So I think Nigeria is in a very big problem. We need to admit the problem, and we need to work together collectively so that we can bring this to an end. It's very unfortunate that the country that used to be the giant of Africa has now become the most terrorized country in Africa. This is not a good rating for us. We need to admit this reality and then work out a solution that can make us to redeem our very bad image.
Redeeming a very bad image, Wale Adeoye there. And why do you think the figure is rising in Nigeria? Is it as a result that we don't, the willpower on the part of governments, have they lost control? This administration, they've been at the Muhammadu Buhari-led administration in the last 5 years inherited Boko Haram, the Boko Haram insurgency. They've not eliminated the terrorists, and now the bandits are all over, northeast, northwest, north, everywhere.
Yeah, we have not done enough to crush these criminals, because I want to see them largely as criminals now. You cannot say what Boko Haram is fighting for has anything to do with religion. No. Back then, when they were attacking churches, remember the Christmas Day bombing, and they were attacking churches in Kaduna and all those. Yes, you could say it had religious coloration, but that's not the case now. And Muslims are by far the greatest victims, especially of Boko Haram conflict. Boko Haram insurgency. Muslims are by far the greater victims. So
they want to create that impression
the question
that it
is,
was a religious thing.
back then, you see, Boko Haram wanted to start a religious war.
Yes,
they wanted Christians and Muslims to kill themselves in Nigeria. In the beginning, they were going for Christians.
That didn't work.
It got so bad that, look, they were installing huge gates before churches at the beginning of your
Sunday thing
in Kano and other places. They were going after Christians. Remember the Christmas Day bombing in Suleja, But when they saw that the Christians and the Muslims didn't turn against themselves, then they got angry and said, okay, you Muslims that you refuse to kill Christians, you people refuse to kill yourselves, then we'll go for you. So they started attacking mosques, attacking Muslims,
imams.
and yes, killing imams who preached against them, killing, remember one of the great heroes of the Nigerian Civil War from Borno State. They went to his house, killed him. They were now targeting big people and killing them as a way of instigating a bigger conflict. So this is the thing. We've not been able to crush them, and because of that, order from within the Boko Haram, groups are getting up, factions are being created. They are now seeking refuge away from their base to go and start their own
elsewhere.
And I will explain how. Remember when Boko Haram broke up in August 2016, the Albanawi faction had to go to the fringes of the Lake Chad to set up and left Shekau in Sambisa forest. Now we are told that some factions of Boko Haram have relocated to some parts of northwest and some parts of north central. They are now in Niger. Shekau's faction, some of their own men are now in the north central. They even had the audacity to post their pictures on Salah Day to say, yes, we are in Niger State now. Because there are extensive forests in that part of the country. It's the largest state by landmass in Nigeria, followed by Borno and Taraba states. So they are there now, causing all kinds of havoc, killing people. So until we crush them, deploy all that is at our disposal, until we look at the strategy that we are even deploying and see that bandits are people who do not deserve to exist in our country, we'll crush them. Until we do that, these figures will be rising. And just as I said earlier, if they are to do it, because 2018 was better than this. What we are having now, everyone can see clearly that security is our greatest problem. There has never been a time when Nigerians were pushing for the removal of service chiefs like they have done this year. And the president knows it. So if people can be shouting, solve our problem, do something about security, it shows that more people have died this year than previous years. So we just have to keep on working hard. Let's beef up the number of our troops, because we don't have enough and they are overstretched. Even the police, we need to continue to recruit, but we must recruit the right people, not never do wells and people who are no better than armed robbers. So there are things that we need to do to get to the promised land.
Wale, why do you think this government has refused to change its strategy on security?
Well, I think the service chiefs, perhaps in the history of Nigeria, the current people in occupying this position should be some of the longest serving service chiefs. It's quite unfortunate that they spent more than 4 years, and we think that after it's time for them to consider to change the strategy that they've employed over these years. I don't understand how the mind of the presidency works, but I think many Nigerians would like to see a change in strategy. If not, we are not going to have a change in the personnel, but at least there should be a kind of change in strategy, because we have been using the same strategy for the past 4 years, and we seem not to be making progress, especially now that we're having so many factions, different forms, coming up with different names. Then we need to review our strategy and to ensure that we do something about it, to ensure that we don't just continue to use the past strategy we have been using over the years, which seems not to be working.
Babajide, it's so unfortunate that we even have them, from the latest reports we read this morning, spreading to parts of Abuja.
Yes, once you are unable to crush them, once they keep getting away with their activities, their criminal activities, then they would begin to extend their tentacles to areas that were hitherto deemed to be safe. So you see now that the Gwagwalada area of Kaduna, the Zuba area of Kaduna is under threat. If bandits can go to Ngamaje, or how is it pronounced, to go to that place, they got to the place around 12 midnight, and they operated for about 1.5 hours, moving from house to house, taking people away, unrestrained.
In Abuja.
That's, you know Abuja, you know Zuba. There's no reason in the world, because that place is too close to the seat of power. There's no reason in the world for criminals to go
to operate
to a place
1 hour,
that close.
that emergency will not come.
Because when you leave, it's after
rescue will not come.
Gwagwalada.
Yes. Yeah.
It's after Gwagwalada that you get to that village. It's too close to Abuja for this nonsense to happen.
Helicopter
Now,
can be deployed, everything
yes,
can be deployed,
at least people can raise alarm. How do we even respond to this kind of things in our country? Technology is important. Every Nigerian should be able to raise alarm, and when he raises alarm to the security agencies, they should be able to respond in record time, in a jiffy. That is the beauty of it. But if you raise alarm and the policemen, their vehicles, maybe at the nearest police station, their vans are not serviceable.
They have their limitations.
Their tires are already deflated. How do they respond? We've seen policemen sometimes, when you call them to say, look, come and save us from criminals, they will tell you that there is no vehicle to step out of their police station. So who will save our people? We need to look holistically at these problems and find a solution.
I think we'll have our first caller. Ade is calling us from Lagos.
Hello.
Yes.
How are you today?
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, my greeting to Babajide and yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What I'm saying is very simple. If a club is losing a match, which means the players don't like the manager. So once they change the manager, the same player give them winning the match. So you'll be asking yourself, what's going on?
No.
So that is exactly what I can tell you about what is happening in Nigeria. Until they change the service team, the morale of the personnel will keep on going down. They are not happy. That's what you are seeing. That's the result you are seeing. Watch it. If they change them, come and see. You will be surprised that the same forces are the one now fighting terrorism or bandits, ready to put their life on the line. So you will see what will happen. But keeping them there, their morale will be, even in the police, the same thing. Because some people are not happy. Maybe they're about promotion or whatever. So we need prayer, but we need action. So we are appealing to our president. We love him to help us to replace the services, and let's see how things goes. Because security is a problem. We are afraid to come home because not everybody can be paying for security here and there. Nowhere is safe now. Everybody is watching all over the world. God will bless you, Babajide, and my dear brother.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, you know,
from the United Kingdom.
In my view, we're talking about service chiefs, but we have other security agencies beyond the army, the police, beyond the army, the Air Force and the Navy. This kind of security threats that we are even talking about, they are better addressed by policemen. Policemen can do a good job of dealing with these bandits if they have all that it takes.
Because it is internal security.
Yes, if they have all that it takes. For example, if you put APCs and other equipment in police stations, if they have enough, they will be able to get into the APCs because they know it offers them protection and go after these bandits. I've seen policemen who had APCs at their disposal. I've seen them dislodge Boko Haram in Borno State. They even went as far as rescuing soldiers who were taken away by Boko Haram. That is the beauty of having the right equipment. We must equip our police sufficiently. We must come up with our laws that will ensure that policemen, that part of even the profit coming from corporate concerns go to the funding of the police. No. If we don't do that, the police will remain underfunded and they will not be able to deliver. The army has no business going after bandits.
Internal security.
Yes, they have no business going after, but they are the ones that we are using. We are depending heavily on them now. And they have shown that, even the army has shown that, they are not miracle workers. See what happened in Katsina, in Jibia local government, Shimfida local government, Shimfida village. They killed our soldiers. They killed many of them. Bandits.
Okay, I'll take this commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk more. This is still Journalist Hangouts. We'll be right back after this time out. Please stay with us. Thank you for joining us. This is your multi-award winning program, Journalist Hangout. We're reaching you from TVC here in Lagos, Nigeria, and we are looking at the Global Terrorism Index, and it's not looking nice for Nigeria. Now, Wale, how can we keep this terrorist in check? And, you know, I've attended some programs that your organization, that you've put together, and you've always, you're always coming up with communique ideas on how to keep security intact across the country.
Yeah, we'll be working with international partners like Ford Foundation and other groups like that. And our finding is that we need a multidimensional approach. We've talking about military solution, there should also be economic solution. There should also be the involvement of communities, because there are communities that are under siege. So we should not assume that fighting terrorism is just the function of the government alone. Communities need to be deeply involved. If you look at some of these terrorists, they are from one farmstead, one community or the other. They are known by certain people. They were given birth by certain parents who know how they grew up, who know their background. So if communities are involved, they will be able to assist the government in terms of providing relevant information. Then we have also discovered that even though you can use guns and weapons to kill terrorists, but terrorism itself as a concept is a different game entirely. You must be able to create a situation where people will not be vulnerable to being recruited by terrorist organizations. People must have jobs. People must have things that keep them busy. Even as important as things like sports. When people are growing up in those days, there are so many sport activities that people get involved that keeps them busy. But because when you look at these terrorists, most of the people that they use are young people who are green, who are green and in a situation that they are raw. They can be, their mentality can be manipulated. Young people of 18, 21, who are adventurous. They don't have children. Life is just a game for them. So these people, if you don't capture them at the right time to engage them in a constructive manner, they are most likely they will be engaged by terrorist organizations who put them for peanuts. So we need a multidimensional approach. And also the economic aspect is very important, because terrorism is eating deep on fiscal policy of the country. We are spending so much billions to buy weapons, to buy guns, at the expense of investing in utilities, in water, in health, in job creation. And then we also have to reduce the cost of governance. For instance, the National Assembly will spend about 20 billion every year. So in a term, in a term of 4 years, you are talking about 79 billion naira. So the people in power must be ready to make personal sacrifices. They must be able to make personal sacrifices to realize that if this thing continues, it will be a threat to democracy. It will be a threat to many of us as individuals. You can imagine many of them say that they cannot go back to their local communities because of fear of terrorism. You can't travel by road. You can't go to your villages. So it's a threat to all of us, and we must be prepared to make sacrifices individually as Nigerians and as political office holders, and also as the state itself. The state must be able to make sacrifices. Okay. The kind of money we are investing on political office holders has to be reduced so that we can put more into social services.
I have Dr. Sule Yao Sule joining us from Kano. Thank you for staying with us.
Mr. Ayo, good evening. How are you?
Good evening.
How are you?
Good evening, Pa.
Yes. You see, this tagging of Nigeria as the most terrorized country in Africa, honestly, is not a good comment. At a time when we are battling with our fragile economy, we are looking for direct foreign investment. And how could someone think of coming to invest in this country with this kind of comment? How would Nigerians be looked outside this country? So it means every Nigerian is a potential terrorist, because your country has been described or has been placated as the most terrorized country. So it means that most of your citizens may turn out to be terrorists, whereas that is not what is obtainable on the ground. I think Nigerians need to talk to themselves. For years, this problem has been on. We are yet to find solutions. Then, if the security cycle or the security management of this country could not find solution to this problem, why can't we Nigerians come together and discuss so that we can find solution to our problem? Are we continue to live in this kind of situation? We are being branded all kinds of things? No, we need to do something. Nigerians must act.
Nigerians must act. Because
You see, Wale was talking about that we are now under threat. People can't travel the way they like. In Borno State now, the big people now use helicopters to go from location to location.
helicopter.
Yes. You know Biu, the Maiduguri Biu Road is extremely dangerous. Yet, when the Chief of Army Staff daughter had a wedding recently, big men needed to be there. They had to go by helicopter. People like Ali Ndume had to go by helicopter. This is a fact. You dare not go by road. And I've been talking about this thing for so long. Some people, when you say, they'll think you are a liar. Oh, yeah, it's a rabble rouser. But we've seen a senator from Borno South, Senator Ali, Muhammad Ali Ndume, coming out to say that he cannot go to his hometown because the place is not safe. And we've seen the Speaker of Borno State House of Assembly also coming out to say the same thing, that there's not a single soul in his local government. Not town, the whole of the local government. Not even soldiers on ground. Everybody has fled. Terrorists have chased us away from our homestead. So how much longer can this go on? There's a huge expanse of land uninhabited by people. Some of them have relocated to Niger Republic. People in Abadam local government, where you have Malam Fatori, the town where Colonel Abu Ali was killed, they are now in Niger Republic. So if you want to give anything, the governor had to travel to give palliatives to them in Niger Republic.
Not forgetting that when this government was coming into power, part of what they used to campaign is we are going to defeat terrorism. And they even put a timeline. I remember those billboards across the country.
No, sometimes before you get into a place, you think it's going to be easy. But the best thing is to always apply caution.
I think they have forgotten the timeline.
Yes.
Remember those billboards.
We have seen even commanders of Operation Lafia Dole, some of them boasting that, look, within 100 days, I'm going to crush these people. But we've had so many of them, and they've not been able to crush Boko Haram. They are always chased away, removed from service, usually when things get very bad. So the truth is, we have not defeated Boko Haram. The government may have boasted that it was going to do it. But by the time he got into office, it saw clearly that the thing was greater than we thought. And the president has asked repeatedly that how come these people they've not finished killing them? Because you have to look at the recruitment. They go to Niger Republic, give young people dollars. BBC did a documentary on it. They give young people dollars and they come and join Boko Haram to fight. We have to look at how they get the
even our people here too.
Yes, they also
poverty. They are hungry.
No, they conscript our people. They force some of them when they raid a village. They take people away. They force some of them to fight on their side. Some they offer money. They've given people loans in the past. In the Madagali area, they gave them loans. I remember going to Adamawa, and I came back to say people were being given loans by Boko Haram. Many people didn't believe me until the spokesman of the army came to confirm it. They are giving our people loans.
Loans to pay back.
Well, they know you will not be able to pay back. Poverty is endemic in those areas. And when you are unable to pay back, they will come to your house and take you into the bush with them. This is what we are going through. We can't do elections in the places that are dangerous. We do elections inside IDP camps. Go and check 2015, 2019. The bulk of the elections in Borno State were done inside IDP camps. If those places were safe, are we not going to do elections there? The people from Borno North, they did their election in the IDP camp in Monguno. I say this because I'm very certain.
All right, moving forward now. A cloud of uncertainty still hangs over the fate of the suspended chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Ibrahim Magu. More fireworks could emanate from the Justice Ayo Salami-led presidential panel investigating allegations of fraud against Magu. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, has expressed readiness to testify in the hearing of a petition he authored against the suspended chairman of EFCC. Magu, on the other hand, says he's willing to testify before the panel and dares Malami to show evidence that he received bribes and enriched himself. Babajide, now I'm getting the texture of this thing. It's now becoming a very personal thing between Ibrahim Magu and the Attorney General of the Federation.
Very much so.
Because that letter that even led to the setting up of the Salami inquiry and everything emanated from the Attorney General.
Yes.
So it's a clash of interest between these two men and
Power play.
Power play, and it has been difficult to look for something to hang Magu onto. And this panel is still
At
sitting.
least up to this moment.
Up to this moment. And this panel is still sitting, and there's a challenge now. And Magu is saying, look, Malami is saying, I'm ready to come and testify against you.
Because he wrote to the panel, the lawyer wrote to the panel, demanding that the person who accused him should be brought to come and face the panel and explain.
Okay. Magu's lawyer,
yes,
that's Wahab Shitu.
Wahab Shitu wrote to the panel that the panel should summon him to come and defend the allegations he made against Magu. If you are an accuser, then provide evidence of what you are saying. And that is what the law says. And the law empowers this panel to invite any Nigerian, wherever he is based within the borders of our country, to come and defend himself. I mean, to come and provide evidence of any allegation that he has made, you know, to produce documents that will enable the panel do its work conscientiously.
I think it should be simpler
yes,
that way.
So that is what Shitu latched upon, that look, this is the man who raised these allegations against me. Bring him, let us face each other, eyeball to eyeball. Let him provide evidence that, oh, I stole so amount of money. It's not enough for newspapers to be carrying reports. It's not enough for Nigerian newspapers to be doing what even Magu himself enjoyed, what we call media trial. Media trial is rubbish. I've never believed in it. I've always condemned it. So whether it is Magu that is the victim of it or not, it doesn't make it right. For those who do not like him, it serves him right. But some of us are not wired like that. Whatever is not good, we talk about it, whether that person is the enemy or not. So it's not a matter of how many days. The panel has been there for more than 2 months. The person who was accused has not been invited to come and respond to allegations against him. I've never had this kind of thing in my life. Oh. You accuse someone of sundry allegations, and he's just waiting there.
What do you mean?
1 month,
What do you mean? As in,
2
Magu
months.
has not stood before the panel to actually defend himself?
No, he's not been invited to come and defend himself. Yet you brought people to come and make all kinds of allegations
people
against him.
Was prosecuting in EFCC.
Yes. People like Dauda Lawal. He has cases against them, they are in court. But you bring them to come and talk. You bring the lawyer of some of the people that is prosecuting. You bring the lawyer to come and talk about him. They are not going to make him smell like roses now. They are going to say negative things. But you should give him the chance to respond to those allegations.
Is Malami ready to come and testify against him?
That is what he said. But whether I will appeal to him to please go there. We want to see a conclusion of this matter. The panel can't be sitting forever. The other day when we were talking about it, somebody said, leave them, let them do their work. We have more pressing issues than sitting for indefinitely. The president was talking about 45 days the other day. Now, count how many days the panel has been set up. I see that 2 months.
So the Salami should just invite Malami and Magu, and
he said it on TV that he's prepared. That once it is done within the ambit of the law, as the Attorney General is prepared, that in the past he had responded. Now, let's have you defend yourself. Because a lot of, look at the issue of Dezani. Both of them are accusing one another. Magu claims that he wrote to the man to push for the extradition of Dezani. Yes, with the British authorities, but I never got a reply. But Malami too is accusing him of being the one that caused the extradition to not happen since. So let them face each other. The one who has documents to defend himself will now produce those documents, and Nigerians will have clarity about all that is going on. I think it's a good thing for the Attorney General to live up to his promise and go and face. He should even write to the panel, let me come and do this.
Because
I've told Nigerians that this
authored
man.
the petition.
Yes, I've told Nigerians so many things about this man. Let me come and prove that everything that I said is true.
Wale Adeoye, now looking at this now, it's dragging on and it's becoming difficult to, you know, I don't even know. Magu is suspended. He's still under suspension now. And the Magu's lawyer cites Section 5cc and Section 6 of the Tribunals of the Inquiry Act, blah, blah, blah. But the bottom line that it has been difficult to actually get to the head of this allegation against the suspended chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission.
Well, the Justice Minister made a 22 count charge against the former acting EFCC chairman. In a normal society, the third day or even the second 24 hours after, the Justice Minister should have appeared in that tribunal, come up with files.
Tons of files.
Look, these allegations, I want to prove that I'm right. It's very unfortunate that we are reading more pages of news saying that he will not mind to appear before the tribunal. It's not it's mandatory for him to be there because he's the one that's accusing Magu that he has committed very grievous offenses. So it's not a question of whether if they call me, I'll be there. Normally, he should have been there to present, to defend the allegations that he made, right from ab initio. So it's unfortunate that he had to wait. In fact, Wahab Shitu wrote, I think, about more than 2 letters. The first letter, the second letter, the third letter. Say, look, it is time for you to come and defend these allegations. He is in the best position to defend the allegations that he made. It's not above the law, the rule of, and he has also admitted it. But I'm not impressed by this over dramatization in the media, saying that if they invite me, I will come. He should be there. It's over 2 months now. Because if he fails to appear, it will raise a lot of fundamental questions about the credibility of the trial in itself. You know, and we are also worried about the fact that the trial is about an issue of public interest. But the public, we have no access to that trial. So we want to see a situation where the Justice Minister will be cross-examined. Magu will ask him questions. They will look at each other. And then I think this is the only way we can establish the veracity of claims of the Justice Minister. If he fails to do this, then a lot of Nigerians will believe that the case of Magu is just a case of witch hunting.
All right, we'll take this breather quickly. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Angle. We'll be right back after this time out. Please don't go away. Welcome back. Jide, even Magu's pastor has sued the FCMB, that's First City Monument Bank, for the mistake of crediting his account. That coincidence, it still baffles me till tomorrow. His account with millions of naira. What impact would this have on the trial? Because how? You are saying a pastor, Magu give the pastor money to go and purchase a property in Dubai, and at the same time, FCMB at that time mistakenly credited a huge sum amount
into his account.
His account.
That is one of the people believe that Magu is guilty as charged. That is one of the strongest points that they are holding on to. That how did that kind of money find its way into the pastor's account? Now, the FCM people have explained that it was a mistake and that they took they redressed it immediately. But they did not announce that we made this mistake. They did not tell anyone.
It was a
but
mistake.
They were saying that so many other Nigerian customers of the bank were affected on that day, that it was just an error, like a computer error or something.
So
now
they now lashed on it.
Now, yes, I think the NFIU people lashed on that one to to say, okay, these people, there's a correlation, is the one who buys houses in Dubai for him. How come when he traveled to Dubai, the pastor was there, you know? So now the man has decided to go to court.
So that
the
bank,
apology,
that kind of mistake.
The apology by the bank is not enough.
Why is it at that time that kind of mistake?
Why should it happen? And when it happened, what were the steps that you took?
Did you
know,
write an apology
because if
letter?
you are taking those steps, they will have protected the pastor. Now, before Nigerians, they look like thieves, like people who are conniving, the money launderers and all that. But you merely say, oh, this was a mistake and that you were sorry. Well, the man decided to go to court. And I believe that that's the best way to defend himself. This same Magu was accused of bungling the P&ID case, you know, and they put Nigeria at the risk of losing 47 billion naira. Only for a judge in the UK to be praising him that they did an excellent job of investigating the thing. So many things are wrong. That's why we are waiting for the panel to finish his work after more than 2 months.
You can't sit in perpetuity.
You can't sit in perpetuity, you know?
Oh, just to, it's becoming so difficult to.
It's looking like Baba Oputa's panel. Oputa panel had so many issues to deal with. But at the rate we are going,
they had to extend the dragnets to even directors in EFCC.
People are on suspension as we speak.
Did
the people did the work
just to
that saved us on this P&ID thing. The boys who did the investigation, they are all under suspension now, including the secretary of EFCC. They are all under suspension. So the truth is, even this panel should do its work. Right. I know it will not end up here. This matter will still go to court. If you recommend that Magu should be prosecuted, we are not preempting their decision. It will still end up in court. So this is just the preliminary stage, and it should not last forever. That's the point. Because it's already now more than 2 months. And the president said 45 days. So even if you are given an extension, for how long are you going to be given an extension?
It's becoming more difficult. Wale, this is what we started like something that we're going to get to the root of the matter. If Magu was culpable, we'll know on time, and he has been asked to step aside pending the time of the investigation. He has not been removed as the EFCC chairman. He was just suspended and asked to step aside pending this investigation. But what we are seeing here is something that looks like it doesn't. There's no end to this on site.
Yeah, I think justice delayed is justice denied. I think at the beginning, there were two opinions. Some people felt Magu was corrupt, you know, and they were anxious to see how the evidence would be provided and then the state to prove, you know, those allegations. But I think after people have waited for 2 months, a lot of Nigerians are changing their mind that this appears to be a kind of
witch hunt.
Witch hunting. So, and I think gradually, Magu is becoming the hero, you know, in this contest between himself and the justice minister, because this is 2 months going, and then everything we just hear is about people like broken record, you know, repeating the same allegations over and over again. But there's not been any grain of evidence presented to the public to convince Nigerians that Magu was actually. You know what they reported, what they said about him. They said he built houses in Dubai, he built houses in UAE, and we can't see those houses. So I think, and I'm worried that the past 2 months, the discussion about, you know, corruption, even the fight against corruption is going. It has receded. You know, if you look at what is going on over the country, unlike
affected the job
some 2 months.
Of the
and the international community and they should know about it.
How we are going to deal with this ultimately.
I just, what we want is fair play. Be fair to him. If he's a thief, provide the evidence. With the same mouth, you know, that Nigerians are praising him, that same mouth they will use to deal with him decisively if he's found guilty of corruption. Because we have no evidence whether he's clean or he's not clean. That's why we're asking, provide the evidence so that this matter can come to an end.
Wale Adeoye, thank you so much for your contribution. Thank you. And Bikio, thank you also for your contribution. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch Journalist Hangout on our platforms showing on the screen. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Zubaku. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.